Rotogrinders? Dean here, Dean78904. That is the daily fantasy handle. Y'all are tuning into the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. It is a Friday. It is a full slate, 9 games going down, full booth as well. Andre, what's going on, dude? Welcome to the show. 9-gamer. It's really, really quiet, which is great. Like mostly, we're mostly through the health and protocol situation. It seems like it. But now that's kind of left us with a slate where there's not necessarily a ton of value. There's no Dennis Smith Juniors of the world. We're not really going to find that today, at least, well, as of right now, news might break. But yeah, Andre, how are things? And general thoughts as far as this slate? It's weird. Just like you're not going to love your lineups tonight as much as you've loved them in the past couple of weeks, as far as I can tell, at least.
It's too quiet for me, honestly. Like I'm not used to it. I'm like scrambling, preparing for the worst. I have everything set up for once, and just hoping that all goes according to plan. But I think it's gonna be a good slate. It's gonna be a good day, and hopefully we'll be more richer than I was after tonight.
Yeah, likewise. Myself and Grant were just talking about how it's been a rough week for both of us, and hopefully we kind of bounce back. You're always 1 week away, one slate away from all of a sudden getting a big rebound. Yeah, Grant, what's going on, dude? How are things in your world? And not a ton of guys are monitoring. Of course, Jimmy Butler questionable. The Toronto guys are questionable as well. Trenton, Barnes, Brogdon got injured his first game back. I presume he does not play. We still have White out. Rashawn Holmes in like the late night hammer game. It's just a DFS game that only like DFS people are going to love. Sacramento versus Houston, like a 240 total, relatively tight as well, as far as Houston being like a 4 or 5 point dog there. But, otherwise it's pretty quiet. Do you like that? Do you think it's going to stay that way? Well, what are we looking forward to in tonight's slate?
I think it might stay that way, but who knows? I mean, I have very little interest in the first 4 games. Every game that starts at 7, I think I have 1 player combined from it, which is wild. But then again, I've been on a streak of really, really bad basketball recently. So,
hey man, it happens. Even the third greatest sports bettor in the world is going to go through some funks. That's just how it goes now, man.
I've also never had a 3-month streak where I didn't have a losing week. So
yeah,
like as much as I look at the numbers of how much money I've lost recently, I'm like, oh gosh, am I even good at my job? And I look at the rest of the months, I'm like, oh yes, I am.
It's too bad it didn't happen in December instead of starting off the year in January.
Yeah, no, I'm still pissed about that. I could have had so much tax deductions. Oh gosh.
You could have used these for sure. Andre, you were saying something.
No, I was saying I know how that feels. That's kind of what I'm feeling like right now. Haven't really had a big win since I want to say baseball.
Hey, well, that means we're all due. We're all going to split first place tonight. That's how it's going to go down as well. Hey, tune into the show where 3 people just talk basketball. They've all lost this week. So follow these losers. Make sure to like and subscribe, YouTube. And ask all your questions as well on our Discord. You want to get the wrong answer? You just want to go the opposite direction?
Yeah. You want to know what to do? Just the opposite, apparently, of all of us, and you'll win a ton of money. So there stack up every 7 p.m. game, right?
Yep.
The old George Costanza approach. Hey, if nothing else, you can get yourself some great screenshots at like 9 o'clock. Like, just think look, I'm not going to take this down. Oh, I don't care that Sacramento and Houston hasn't started yet. I'm a winner. All right. It's a 9-gamer, not a lot of time for pleasantries. And then I guess we'll call those pleasantries for sure. And like we said, 9-game slate, 4 games. You got to reference it there. 4 games. We don't really get that too often. 4 games at 7 o'clock. And of course, news is a commodity, and we might get some news sprinkling on through later on in the show. But as of right now, not a ton of like clear and obvious value. Boston and Philadelphia, 207.5. That's the first game of the slate. We're going to talk about. Boston is a 3.5 point dog. Not a big number as far as the total. 207.5 is pretty low. 2 defensive minded teams as well. As far as who's in and who's out, Boston is fully healthy with the exception of Marcus Smart, not available tonight. Philadelphia reasonably healthy. Danny Green not expected to play, as well as Shake Milton. But otherwise, they're healthier than they have been in the previous weeks. I'll throw it to you, Andre. I guess Grant's just going to be like a no. He's just going to chill for the first 20 minutes of the show, or whatever it is. And I kind of sort of agree with your take. Andre, do you like anything in particular in this slate, in this game? It's a bunch of secondary stuff as far as I'm concerned.
We're talking about Boston, right?
Either side.
Yeah, Boston. I mean, I'm only have interested a little bit in Dennis Schroeder and Al Horford. Just because Schroeder's price is still so cheap. I'm playing more on FanDuel tonight. 5,300 is just too cheap for him. And we know what his upside is and it can bring to the table. And with Marcus Smart being out, I think that helps him out a lot. So I'm gonna be playing a lot of not a lot, but a little bit of Dennis Schroeder. And Al Horford, just because also Marcus Smart is out rebounding, it should help hopefully. And we got Robert Williams banged up too a little bit. So I imagine Al Horford could possibly rebound here a little bit better and hopefully get some assists and some scoring. So I don't mind him too as a tournament play. And then when it comes to the Philadelphia side, I only have one player and one player only, and that's Joel Embiid. That's it. I'm not really rostering anyone else in this game besides those 2-3 guys.
Yeah, DraftKings specific, the only guy that has a projected ownership above 4.5% is Dennis Schroeder. 5.4K is the asking price, 12% is the projected ownership, and that's mostly because he benefits with the absence of Marcus Smart. We saw when he had his best run of the season, that's how it was going down. Also, at the time, they were without either Tatum or Brown. It seemed like some of those games or most of those games, possibly both of them. But yeah, his minutes are a little bit more solidified. We're projecting 34 minutes there. And as far as the Philadelphia side, Embiid, 11.2K on DK, 4% ownership. Like, of course, he's a phenomenal tournament play if you catch him on the right night. I think he scored like 31 points like the last 3 or 4 games. Just keeps, scoring like crazy, obviously. Pretty good shot there, the double-double as well. You catch him on the right night as far as stocks. And, you're in business. Of course, salary matters as well. Yeah, Grant. And as far as the FanDuel side, we have Embiid and Schroeder at 12%. Otherwise, nobody above 4.5%. Again, Horford's that guy at 4.5, 5.4K. He's got a scuffled of late. He's better at the beginning of the season. Maybe it's the age catching up with him. Not really sure, but there will be some opportunity, and presumably they'll need him for Embiid. Historically, he's been better than most against Embiid. I'll say that, I guess. But it's really hard to subdue him. Grant, like you said, like one guy in the four 7 o'clock games. I'm guessing it's not in this game.
It is not. I mean, I don't hate Embiid.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he has pretty massive upside. I already bet his over on points prop, just because he's gotten, how many points he's had, the lowest amount of points he's had over the last 5 games.
Well, I just told you, he scored 31 points, like exactly 31. I feel like in at least 4 of the last
sometimes
5.
I tune you out.
That's
exactly it. He's had 31 exactly in 5 in a row. And his points prop has always been at 30.5. And I've hit the over, except for one day where it was at 31.5 and it came down to 30.5. And then I hit it and he got 31. Wild stuff. But yeah, in this game, there's really not a ton to love. I mean, if you want to take the ownership game into account and play Tatum or Brown or Embiid, like all of them are very low owned and they should end up having a decent amount of upside. One of them can end up getting there drastically. But realistically, I'm just fading everyone here. This is too big of a slate. I love the Kings in Sacramento or the Kings in Houston game.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's a beautiful, and I even like the Memphis game. Like I might have a lineup almost in like probably 2 players outside of the last 2 games. And so if any wild news happens, I'll be ready to go.
Yeah. There's 2 games at 10 o'clock. Memphis moved their, I guess, the start time back a little bit, kind of like pulling to Chicago the other night. 10 o'clock East Coast time. You don't see Memphis 10 o'clock East Coast time start games, but that's how it's going down there. And Memphis tonight on a Friday night, doubleheader for ESPN.
Someone's mentioning everyone likes Houston to Sacramento night. It's because they have a 240 total and they're all cheap.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's not sneaking up on anybody. And like I kind of said at the front, like that is the most appealing game of the slate. 240 and 2 horrific defenses, 2 teams that want to play fast. It's good, man. And also like I like the mid to upper tier tonight, just the way the things kind of shaping up. Like guys like Halliburton, guys like Fox, guys like Wood, all in that game.
Guys like Desmond Bain.
Yeah, I like him too. A little bit lower than those guys, but for me, it doesn't feel like my brain generally goes like the star scrubs, and that's like not what is on the table. Well, there's not a lot of stars. Like there's our stars, but like the stars I don't necessarily need. And the scrubs are terrible as of right now. Like for me, the strength of this slate is the upper mid tier. We'll talk about it as we kind of work our way through. Phoenix, Indiana is the next game on the slate. 219.5 is the total here. Phoenix is a 5.5 point dog. As far as who's in and who's out, most teams again are starting to get healthy. Phoenix, another team fully healthy, with the exception of Cam Johnson. I believe he's questionable now with his ankle There was a scare with Chris Paul as far as COVID, but apparently he is going to be good to go. And then the Indiana side, they are fully healthy. Duarte is available. Craig's available. Brogdon is questionable. He did practice I can't imagine they're forcing him out there. He got hurt in his very first game back after missing 7, 8, 9 games or something like that. They're going nowhere. Our projections, I believe, have him out as well. Despite Brogdon being out, prices have adjusted here, Andre, where, this game is sort of one of those games that's happening. You're playing on FanDuel tonight. The most popular player in FanDuel right now is DeAndre Ayton at 6.5%. Then Chris Paul at 4%. If you like this game, man, have at it. But I don't know. Everybody's priced where they should be, and I'm not enthused. I don't like the matchup for Indiana. It's just kind of a throwaway game for me.
That's kind of what I think about it for the most part. I don't have no one from Indiana. For Phoenix, I just have the 3 main guys on there. On that side was Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and Chris Paul, just to sprinkle a little bit of GPPs to get a little bit different. Other than that, I'm not really playing over this game. It should be an easy win for Phoenix, especially with everything that's going on. And Indiana's price is too high right now. Some of the players for what their production has been this season, Sabonis really is priced where he has been, where he should be, but he has been performing like that. He hasn't been performing like that all season. I'm not saying as of late he has, and you can run him out of tournaments, but at 10K, I think he's someone that I don't want to use tonight. I'd rather go with another spend up around 10K, which we'll get to in a couple later games. But yeah, other than that, I'm not going to really roster anybody.
Wouldn't be surprised if Sabonis gets traded before the deadline. Definitely something to monitor there. Most popular player right now, according to our projections here on Lineup HQ, according to our ownership stuff, is Miles Turner on DK at 12%. He's 5.8K over there. Besides that, everybody's less than 5%. FanDuel, 8 and 6.5%. Everybody else less than 4%. Grant, again, always you could play Sabonis, you could play Booker, you could play these guys, but there's no reason to really play.
Brogdon ruled out.
Just got ruled out.
Okay, yeah, but that's what we were expecting, and it still doesn't really change anything. Our projections
I just had to hit a bet, hit Karis LeVert over 18.5. Go through, please go through, please go through, please go through. I hate the action required.
I don't even love LeVert because Bridges is going to be on. Bridges is kind of one of those lockdown defenders. It looks like he's bad, but I guess maybe that could have been a blessing in disguise. Who knows? DFS wise, Grant, I know you're multitasking over there, but you said you like one player in the 7 o'clock block, and I'm going to guess it's not anybody from this game.
It is not anybody from this game. Sabonis, now without Brogdon, he could end up with a big game, but more than likely is not going to. His price tag at 10.1K is just a little bit too high. Paul and Booker, just guys that I don't really want to end up playing. And gosh, they rejected my bet. I hate them so much right now. I've been literally hovered over that weighing press center, and of course the approval process took several seconds too long.
Is that a new step they added? The approval process? I'm not aware of that.
No, it's just I always try and figure out the amount of money I can put down without going to approval, and it's always a little tough trying to figure that out. So on those quick bets, I try and hit it for 400 generally. Sometimes they won't let that, with how much money I've been losing lately, they'll just let that go through. Apparently that wasn't the case tonight. But really the only 2 guys that are of any interest in this game are the centers. Ayton can have a big game. I know he hasn't been coming into this game in great shape, but he's a guy that can put up a 45, 50 point night on any given night. They'll need his size out there. So I think there's worse things you can do than play DeAndre Ayton or Miles Turner, but they're not making the cut for me.
All right, let's move on. 9 gamer, 2 down, 7 to go. Toronto at Detroit, 212.5 is a total. Detroit is a 10-point dog here. Toronto, kind of important pieces to some extent here. Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent, both currently questionable. As far as the Detroit side, we have Corey Joseph available. Frank Jackson is expected to be out for conditioning reasons. We know Jeremy Grant and Kelly Olynyk, they've been gone for a while. I guess this is kind of sort of an if-then right now, Andre. I guess if everybody's in on the Toronto side, certainly they're not as appealing. They run pretty tight rotations. We've seen Boucher thrive in the absence of these guys. It seems like Nurse doesn't hate him nearly as much as he used to, or he just kind of needs him. We do have an if Gary Trent is out and Boucher is a guy that bumps up to a 26, 27 fantasy point projection. But again, we don't know if he's going to be in or out. So we'll stay tuned for that. But is that kind of like we're in a limbo as far as Toronto, just kind of waiting to see what happens with Trent and Barnes?
Yeah, I think that's what we pretty much are waiting for to see what happens. I expect them to play today, but if they don't play, then I will be kind of happy about it. That we don't have to worry about Boucher, but it'll be not the worst thing in the world to get Boucher today, especially going against a team like Detroit. It just creates a little bit more chaos than what I was looking for today.
Grant, what do you have for me as far as this game?
Not really anything if both Barnes and Trent end up playing. If they end up missing, it does make it a little bit more interesting. The spread's sitting at 10 right now. I could see it dropping down to around 7. If both those guys end up being ruled out, Boucher becomes a guy that is in play and has potential upside. Cade Cunningham, he's a great play over on FanDuel, but over on DK, he becomes viable. If both those guys end up sitting, Van Vliet and Siakam should see an increase in usage if both those guys end up missing. OG is probably a little bit too cheap. So this is a game that I'm planning on stacking up if both those guys are ruled out. But as of the moment, assuming that they're playing, I'm full on out on this game.
Question.
Yeah, but it's not a huge stack as far as the Detroit side, right? Because
Cade, it's Cade.
Yeah, it's Cade on FanDuel. That FanDuel price at 6K, 7-6 on DK is rough, but 6K
you can still
on
play
FanDuel,
him. I mean, the biggest
correct.
thing is he hasn't been shooting well recently.
Yeah,
and he's been involved in blowouts. Like if he actually shoots like he's supposed to shoot, like we've seen this from him before. He went through a huge stretch near the beginning of the season, just shooting absolutely awful, and everyone's like, he's
a bust.
And then he goes and he just averages 25 points almost a game for the next 7 games. Then he goes on the COVID list, comes back, and he hasn't been shooting the ball the same. Now, like at some point, this is going to turn around. He's still finding his rhythm again. From what I can tell, he's a pretty big, needs to be in rhythm player, and he just hasn't been happening. And it's not going to keep like this for long. Might have talked myself into betting Cade Cunningham's overs if Barnes and Trent are ruled out.
I think I'll talk you out of it though, maybe because I feel like even if Cade, like I get he's 6K and I like the price on him, but he has to go against a guy like OG Anunoby on the defensive end. And if Scotty Barnes is in him, pressures, and then you have to go against also Siakam. I think those are enough bodies that can that where he might not have a good game here. Granted, I'm going to play him. I'm going to probably be under the field on him, but I don't see how he can have a monster game. I know his price is cheap, but I'm not as high on him as other people.
I sorted on FanDuel specific as far as our point per dollar plays, and Cade Cunningham is the second best, second best play in the slate. And usually it's typically guys that are super, super cheap. So when you're 6K,
Obama ruled out.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah. Is it Robin Lopez late again? I haven't checked his price.
Kiki, whatever, what's his name?
Okiki,
yes.
Chuba?
Yes, Chuba is in play.
I just bet the over on Plumlee points.
Oh man, that's the next game on layaway. Maybe we'll skip that game and give our projection team a second to kind of figure that out.
I mean, it's not going to really change too much. I mean, Okiki and Robin Lopez are probably getting a pretty drastic bump. Lopez will be around 28 to 31 minutes, I'm guessing would be the projection. And projects is one of the better value plays on the entire. We'll get to that game in a second.
Yeah. I guess I haven't looked at Lopez's price. For some reason, I was thinking that Bamba was going to play, and I actually like Bamba because that matchup against Charlotte's pretty appealing. On DK, let's clean up this Detroit-Toronto team. Detroit on DK is really, really ugly. If you're going to play somebody, I think it's Beef Stewart. You're not really certain if he's going to close or if Lyles is going to close, but 4.6K is a pretty appealing price. The tricky part, again, as always, there's an opportunity cost to center, and he's center only. It's not like a center/power forward. He's taking up one of those center spots. There's only 1, 2 of you use that utility spot. And he's the guy with the biggest ownership there as well, for what it's worth, currently at 15%. You can always play FEV. FEV, he plays those 40+ minutes, especially if, they get Barnes ruled out and Trent ruled out. And then also that brings in Boucher. We kind of talked about, he could be pretty interesting as well. If they both play, I wouldn't play Boucher. I wouldn't think so. Yeah. Final thoughts here, Andre, as far as Toronto, Detroit, anything else before we move on?
I do have a little bit of interest in Isaiah Stewart possibly today, if he's going to get the run. but I was bringing him a little bit in GPPs. Not going to be overfilling him, but honestly, with this news with Orlando, might change things a little bit.
All right, let's go ahead and pull that game up. The fourth game in the 4 o'clock window, 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 o'clock East Coast. Orlando, Charlotte, 223.5 is the total. Orlando is an 11-point dog here. By the way, Cam Johnson officially ruled out. I'm not sure if he said that. We said he was questionable earlier. Charlotte fully healthy with the exception of Kelly Oubre. Really good matchup. This game stays tight. They essentially play. Charlotte essentially plays like an 8-man rotation. Like Ball, Rozier, Hayward, Bridges, Plumlee, all kind of in play. PJ Washington, Martin, and McDaniels. Those are the guys that play. That's essentially it. Orlando, we just talked about Bamba being ruled out. We'll see about Robin Lopez. I'm curious. Well, you guys probably know
he's starting.
Yep, he's starting.
That's already said he's okay.
Yep.
Oh boy, I haven't considered him today. He's 4-4 on DK, 4-7 on FanDuel, and Also, they're getting back Suggs, which makes their defense even worse. Jalen Suggs has been a rough defender, so that makes Charlotte even more appealing. It also doesn't help as far as, well, I guess he can score too, in theory. But I'll throw it to you, Andre. The Hornets, like, you could play theoretically think 6 Hornets. I think you could play 6 guys if you want to bring Washington into the conversation. They're all playable to various degrees, no?
Yeah, this is like one of the games I actually have that I worked on today as far as building game stacks for. I kind of like this game. I think it has potential to go over on the total, especially now that we have this news that Mo Bamba's being out and Chuma's there. So I think it kind of decreases the defense a little bit more, especially with Jalen Suggs being back too as well. So like I really do. I like LaMelo Ball today. I'm going to keep firing the shots on him. His prices continues to go down in plummet. 8K, I think it's still too cheap for him. So I like getting to him today. I do also kind of like getting to, I do like getting to Miles Bridges at 7,900 low ownership play, especially now with the rebound rate. Those 2 guys still rebound the ball pretty well, but I think we can see a lot more easier of a path for Miles Bridges to attack the basket and scoring wise. So I like him a lot. And Gordon Hayward, someone I do a little bit of everything. 6,500 is too cheap for him, in my opinion. He's another one of my favorite guys from Charlotte. I'm just going to stack this game either way. And I got to have a little bit of Terry Rozier. I don't, just because the way he plays in GPP sometimes is good, but he'll be my lowest probably on the Charlotte side out of all of them.
That LaMelo price tag on FanDuel at 8K flat is really, really appealing. Hayward at 6.5 is playable as well. Rozier, it feels like these guys are like more expensive than they have been on the season, but the minutes are really good, and they're really, really solid. The matchup is good, obviously, here against Orlando. Barring any sort of goofy blowout, they should like all sort of have a good shot of getting there. Grant, your thoughts as far as Charlotte's?
I mean, I think Ball, Bridges, Rozier, and Hayward are all very much in play. If I had to rank them, it's probably Ball, Rozier, Bridges, then Hayward. I think they're all guys that you probably want to throw on a game stack, hoping that this game stays close, which it definitely has the possibility of doing, even though Orlando is terrible. Charlotte has been playing well recently, but they can end up staying close in almost any given game. It definitely doesn't help that it's in Charlotte, but this game, if it's going to stay close, then the reason why is probably going to be Cole Anthony over on the other side.
Yeah. How much does Cole Anthony get hit with Suggs going back? I like Cole
not
Anthony
as much. It will happen at some point. We look at his numbers. Suggs was in the lineup, and he definitely had a downtick. But Suggs is going to be coming off the bench. They're not going to share that much time together. I'm guessing Suggs is going to be the guy that kind of eats up a lot of the usage with Terrence Ross off the bench. So Anthony really isn't going to be affected that much, would be my assumption. But Cole Anthony is he's been shooting awful, absolutely awful since he came back. 6 for 17, 4 for 17, 5 for 18, 9 for 21 over the last 4 games. And the volume has absolutely been there. The points outside that game versus Washington have been in the 40s every single time. Cole Anthony is the guy that I'm playing.
What about Rolo? I assume we can project. We're probably going to project around 30 minutes or so for Rolo. He's been getting starters minutes when he's been starting in these kind of situations. He played 31 last time out. Similar situation. 0.94 fantasy point minute guy on the season. 4.4K on DK, 4.7 on FanDuel. It's going to be one, and we're looking for value plays. He's going to be one of the better value plays in the slate. At least that's what I'm looking at right now. I haven't seen we haven't updated just yet, but off the top of the head, Grant, I think he is one of our top value plays. That's what we're dealing with. No? Yes?
Yeah, and it looks like, so I just ran the lineup, putting in Rolo in there, and I have guys from 3 games.
Yeah. Sacramento and Houston.
Yeah, Memphis and Orlando, Charlotte. That's it. That's all I've got.
Do you have Halliburton and Fox in the same lineup?
I don't. I have either Fox or Halliburton, and then I throw in Barnes or Buddy.
Yeah, we'll get that in a conversation, but I was trying to figure out how many Kings is too many Kings. Like they're just my least favorite, one of my least favorite teams to deal with, but it feels like they feel good tonight, which is always a little bit uncomfortable.
The answer is 3.
Yeah, I think you could play 3 too. Andre, thoughts? Anything you want to add there as far as Orlando? Are you on board with the idea of a Rolo chalk, which I think he's going to be chalky?
I like him. I can't lie. I do. I'm just worried about how long is he going to be able to stay on the court for. I know he played 30 minutes the last game, but this is going to be I think it's going to be an up-paced matchup. So if it's going to be an up-paced matchup, like Plumlee can outrun Rolo realistically. So that's the thing. How long is he going to be on the court for and play? That's where my concern comes in. But I know he's going to pop, so I'll have a little bit exposure to him. But I'm going to probably have exposure to a number of other centers that I think are also in fantastic spots, just in case he gets run off the court a little bit. They try to go small and put like Chum at the 5 or something.
I'm trying to see who they play at the 5 last game, like Admiral Schofield and some Wagner. Like who were they running at 5 when Lopez came off the court?
I'm guessing Okiki.
I would have thought they would just move Okiki now. I'll check it right now.
No, there was I think it was Schofield. Just pull up the court IQ, and Okiki and Lopez are both off the court the last several minutes of the first quarter. And Mo Wagner and Schofield are out there. I think it's one of those two. Is
probably Mo then? I would assume Mo.
And PJ Washington the other side is not like a big 5, so they can play Mo versus Washington, and it's not a big deal at all, right?
No, not at all.
All right. Anything else this game that's worth talking about, or shall we move on?
Moving on.
Golden State, Chicago. This should be a fun game. I think it's the first half of the ESPN doubleheader. Of course, Golden State absolutely flopped last night. They're in a back-to-back, so you're going to want to monitor. Nothing official just yet, but we've seen it before. We're like Iguodala and Porter sit on back-to-backs. Now, that said, revenge game for Otto Porter, and also like Iguodala and Porter barely played last night because it was such a massive blowout. Some guys were held out in the second half. 224.5 is the total. Chicago is a 3-point favorite here. Chicago also is without DJJ. He's going to be out with a knee. Golden State is resting Klay Thompson. Gary Payton's out. Draymond's out. So two of their best defenders are out in the Golden State side. We know they're a tough defense to generally want to avoid them, but Payton and Green are out. We saw how vulnerable they were last night, at least in a 1-game sample, how Milwaukee just absolutely smashed them in the absence of both Payton and Green. Andre, Golden State. Jordan Poole's one of these guys that's kind of popping for us. Are you on board with kind of sort of somewhat chalky Jordan Poole?
I like Jordan Poole today. I don't know how much I'm going to have him though, because I'm getting to other players and the way my lineups are set up. He's not popping a lot, but he is, I think, a good play. It's just a tough matchup though against Chicago with their defense and the way they've been playing lately. He can have an average game and be at 25, but he's not going to be needed, even though he's at 5,100. So I'm looking for guys with upside, and obviously he has some, but I don't know how high it is in this specific matchup with the way that Chicago has been playing defense all year, even though they're without Alex Caruso. I do like Wiggins, probably the best out of everyone on the team, just because we know he can create his own shot. We know he can pretty much bring the ball up and do everything. He do everything and rebound the ball too. It's just a matter of how long is he going to play before this turns to a blowout. And that's also my concern too. How long
the game's going to blow out? It's a 3-point line.
That means someone on Chicago must be sitting then, in my opinion, because I don't see how this game should be.
Gary Trent Jr. ruled out.
I don't see how this game stays close without Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, in my opinion. You have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic. This game, in my opinion, should not be close, but that's just me.
Interesting. Yeah. You think obviously the Warriors are hurt without Draymond. You think they're hurt that much without him?
Yeah, like I think that plays a big factor. He's an anchor on defense. He pretty much puts everyone in the right positions, and people take that for granted. But that is really important for a defense. For a team.
We got Trent ruled out, and Scotty Barnes is a game time decision. So there you go. Uh, somewhat helpful, halfway helpful. Where we're projecting Troy Brown to start for Chicago. I don't know how much confidence they're in that. I don't know if you have a thought in that, Andre, as far as who's going to take that Jones Jr. run. Like it's probably going to be a combination of Brown, McKinney, White, Ao. I don't know if there's one guy that's going to rise though. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Is that where you're at too?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like I'm not messing with it tonight. I want to see what they do because it is kind of hard. Like I know one game, the game that Derrick Jones Jr. didn't get hurt, the game before he got hurt, he didn't play a lot of minutes because Troy Brown Jr. was playing so well. So it could be like I said, the coach will just go with whoever has a hot hand in that type of situation with that last spot there in the starting lineup until Caruso gets back, in my opinion. So I'm just personally staying away from it until I see who starts and not taking a chance.
How about yourself, Grant? What's your read as far as this game? Feel free to go on both sides. And there's some possible speculation that Golden State may also additionally rest Porter and additionally rest Iguodala. I think they actually play. I mean, they got walloped last night. They barely played. This is an ESPN game. Last night was an TNT. I don't think they care about that kind of stuff, but you can say they got embarrassed last night. I think that those guys, they're going to give it a go. And I know Porter's going to want to play against his old team. I don't know. That's just sort of my read. Well, what do you have for me?
Don't really like anything with this game. Steph Curry is fine. He can go off for a massive game. And obviously, his usage is going to go back up without Clay in there. He can absolutely put up a big game, but not really a guy that I'm using too much, but he is one of the better spend ups on the slate. Wiggins and Poole are probably the two main guys that I would be interested in. 6.2K for Wiggins is probably a little bit too cheap. Speculation about Porter and Iguodala playing or not playing. We should know by the time before lock ends up happening. So wait and see on that, but I'm kind of under the assumption they aren't going to play, which should mean a decent amount of usage and minutes for both Wiggins and Poole, who are probably a little bit too cheap in this scenario.
Vukovic is 1% owned. Yeah, they're talking about it in chat right now. 1% for Vuk.
Yeah, Vooch is one of the few guys that I want to play.
I mean, if he's not 1%, he's like 3%. It's not going to be that high. It's going to be low for sure. Go ahead. What was that, Andre?
I said I think he's too expensive for just for the matchup and position that they're in. Like I said, I personally think it's gonna be a blowout. So granted, you can still play him, but with all those other guys back too, how many he's taking outside shots, he's not really posting up a lot from what I've looked at film on. So as much as I would like him to, in my opinion. So you can go with him. He's a great tournament play, but I personally think he needs to be a little bit cheaper to be played.
You're overspending to be different, basically, in the hopes that he gets a ceiling game, but it's probably not gonna happen. Hey, you know what, Andre, you're in New York, so you can legally wager on Chicago. You can smash that for a 3-point line, hit it with the, and of course we talk about this all the time ever since the New York.
What happens if you don't have legal sports betting? Might you have Prize Picks?
Well, you might have Prize Picks as well, but yeah, well, I do want to mention New York. You click through the banners here at Rotogrinders, go to the sports betting banner and go to New York. You can get $1,000 deposit bonus, $3,000. There's a crazy bonuses. Click through those banners. Go to rotogrinders.com, go to sports betting banner, and go to New York specifically, and you can have at it. The competition is fierce, and that really helps out the consumer. And as you mentioned there, Grant, if you do not have a sports gambling, like I have Prize Picks, I'm in Florida. That's the only thing I have as far as sports gambling type, that kind of thing. Use your promo code Grinders, GRINDERS, with your very first deposit. Get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. And you know what? We have some winners in theory, selected for the people. Grant, what do you have? You pick some sides you liked on Prize Picks.
Embiid over 28.5 points, 29.5 at most places. Bane over 2.5 3-pointers made, put at like 100 minus 150 juice at most places. So offering some pretty decent value. He's hit it like a 70% clip over the last 10 games, if I remember correctly. And then Halliburton over 15.5 points. It's at 16.5 with heavy juice on the over at a lot of sports books. I bet the over on all those on sports books since I don't have Prize Picks, since I just have to gamble legally.
Andre, you have some winners as well?
I got some hopeful winners. I think they are going to win. Andrew Wiggins over 29 fantasy points. I think that's just too low. Jordan Poole, I like playing. I told you before, like I like him, but not playing a lot of them. But over 27, I think he should be able to get there today. Sadiq Bey against Toronto, I think he's going to be under 29 fantasy points. Tyrese Halliburton in the best game on the slate, in my opinion, over 37.5 fantasy points. Then we're going to see a monster game from him today. And then Kevin Love, fantasy point, I think he's going to be under 26.5 against the Spurs.
Yeah, I was betting on that game to be close. I picked 3 guys in that game: Christian Wood, Fox, and Halliburton, all over 38.5, 38.5, and 37.5, respectively. If it stays tight, you're getting 5-1 on it. So I do think that's pretty interesting for me. And I think I put $100 American dollars to back that up. Andre, in the chat, they're talking about it. Can you confirm? Are you eating sunflower seeds? That's some weird speculation there. Is that something?
I'm eating nerds.
I swear.
What are your thoughts on Nerds Rope?
I haven't had that one yet.
Oh gosh, you haven't had a Nerds Rope?
No. Oh, Nerds Rope. Oh yeah, I've had that. That's
Okay.
It's okay.
Screw you, they're delicious. If you like nerds, you like Nerds Ropes. That's how it is.
Grant was the odds-on favorite if somebody was eating nerds. I thought for sure it'd be Grant, but okay, fair enough.
I'm surprised I'm not eating nerds right now.
Yeah, but not you want them secretly. You want to go on a nerds run after the show.
I went to the doctor yesterday. Apparently, my blood pressure is great. Waiting to hear back on the blood work, but I'm gonna be super excited if I have normal cholesterol and no diabetes, because I can continue living this lifestyle.
All those SpaghettiOs and Pizza Hut are paying off for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if I mentioned in the chat, you guys are on YouTube. Like, where's the chat at? What up, YouTube? Also, hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. And if you join our Discord here, you can join the chat. It doesn't cost you anything. There are some premium Discord channels. There are some non-premium Discord channels. This is the non-premium Discord channel. Rotogrinders.com/Discord. Go to the live stream chat channel. It's right below Chiefs Prop Shop, where they talk about such things like Prize Picks. And partake in the conversation, ask some questions. Devin and producer Steve, I'm not really sure who's compiling those questions. Somebody's going to throw them my way. We're going to knock them out. End of the show. Whatever we did not talk about, whatever you want us to elaborate on. If you're thinking of a 2v2, make sure to give specifics as far as tournament, as far as cash, as far as sites, all that stuff is helpful. And I believe Devin is going to pick one lucky winner. We've been doing this 3 times a week to get 1 free week of RG Premium, not just basketball, but all the sports. UFC is back. Basketball is back. No, basketball's been here. Right around the corner, golf is back, the NFL playoffs, all of it. You get the lineup HQ, you get the ownership stuff, you get the premium content for 1 week. So just join the conversation, join the Discord again, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel, say hello, join the conversation. We got anything else to say as far as Golden State, Chicago, or shall we move on and talk about Atlanta? And
we got 4 games, 2 of which are the most interesting games on the slate. We only have 20 minutes. Darn it, Daniel.
Well, you had to talk about Nerds Rope for 7 minutes.
Okay, you really have no concept of time, do you? Do you think that was 7 minutes?
Time is a flat circle. Atlanta, Miami, 221.5 is the total. Miami is a 4-point favorite here. We may be getting Jimmy Buckets back in our lives. Markieff Morris, of course, is still up. Bam Adebayo coming back Monday. Not really useful tonight, but that's just kind of worth noting. And Atlanta, the only thing we're really monitoring there is Kevin Huerter, the Red Velvet himself.
The Red Rocket.
Yeah, well, that's something totally different, I believe.
I believe that's a dog's wiener.
I thought it was something else. I get the Reds. Okay. Don't necessarily Google that without putting on. All right, Grant, what do you have as far as the Atlanta Hawks tonight?
So Atlanta Hawks, it's really simple. Like, you can play Trae Young tournaments, but I think the only guy that really stands out as a decent play is going to be Bogdanovich. Been playing pretty decent recently without Reddish in there. Should have a boatload of minutes. Can do a lot in this offense. Bogdanovich is the only guy I'm even considering over on Atlanta. And then on the Miami side, it all depends on the Butler news. If Butler plays, play Butler. If Butler misses, Lowry and Hero are both very much in play.
Andre?
Only like Okongwu, and I don't even know how much I'm going to roster him today. On the Atlanta side, not really interested in anyone else. Need that Jimmy Butler news to come out. Really important. But even if he doesn't come out, if it comes out and he's in, I like him a lot. I like getting to Amir still, Yurtseven a little bit, and Kyle Lowry. That's really about it.
I do think it's interesting talking about, we did have Okongwu who was super chalky last game. The price got bumped up. He only played 24 minutes. And this was the same matchup against Miami, and it didn't go well. Maybe they think they need more Okongwu. I'm not really sure. I presume he's going to start again. We saw a lot of Collins at the 5. I like Collins a good bit in this game. I think he's one of my favorite. I don't know if he's sneaky or not, but the possibility of him running the 5 is kind of sort of somewhat interesting. And I'm not sure what they're going to do. Whatever they did last time didn't work. Like Miami just walloped them. So maybe they think they need more Okungwu. Maybe they play less Collins the 5. I'm not really sure what they're going to come up with, but I do think it's worth monitoring. And Collins the 5 is interesting. And I don't know, Andre, do you not see a path for Collins them to go a little bit smaller here in this game? I know your 7's kind of a big boy, but
I think they can go smaller for sure. Now I might have to correct my things because I've just updated my lineups. I mean, updated the thing over here, our optimizer. But Okungwu might come down for me now just because of Robin Lopez.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more of him. But Okungwu's at 3.9. So the thing about this is at that price, he can still give you, like, if he gives you 25, 30, he's in play in tournaments. So I might just get a little bit less exposure to him than the field if he's really going to be 18%, which I don't know if he will be still. But they can run Collins at the 5. They did last time. I wouldn't be surprised if they do it again. And then that increases Collins' upside, in my opinion, honestly. But I just don't like honestly playing Collins. Just not gonna lie, I'm not a big John Collins guy, so I will not have him today.
I'm not either, for the record, but I just think he's like one way to get different in this slate. Like, we're going to talk about Mobley in a second, a similar price. I like him too. Cleveland, 220.5 is a total against San Antonio. San Antonio is a 4-point dog here versus the Cavs. As far as who the Cavs are missing this evening, they are without, I'm pulling up my list. Okay, so we have Okoro and Rondo questionable. Last I saw, Derek White is still out for San Antonio. Otherwise, they're fully healthy, right? McDermott expected to go. Eubanks expected to go. San Antonio's got a bunch of dudes and all those cheap guys we're kind of playing for a while. They kind of fall back for me. Grant, the San Antonio side, it's basically Murray and Pirtle. I don't think I'm playing anybody else. You agree? You disagree?
I agree.
What? Devin, cut that clip right there. Steve, somebody cut that clip and get that out. Never want. This is like how many years, how many shows? You've agreed with me, Grant. Did you want to take that back, or you want to rescind it, or you feel okay with that? All right, that's it. Just a flat I agree. Andre, do you agree as far as San Antonio, and like how much do we like Murray? Because Murray's expensive, but he's justified. He's been awesome. He averages around 1.5 fantasy points per minute when White is off the court. Obviously, that's this great matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland, pretty solid defense this year. They don't play particularly fast either. So they're going to be a pace down game for San Antonio. But are you with us as far as the Spurs? It's basically Pirtle and Murray, nobody else.
I agree with that. Pirtle, Murray, no one else. I love getting to Murray today.
What about the runbacks as far as Cleveland? What do you have for me?
I like this game a little bit as a little bit of a game sack, but I do like getting to Darius Garland. I like getting to Jared Allen. Obviously Evan Mobley, and I don't mind a little bit of Kevin Love, just because of the fact there's not a lot of value on the slate. The points, and we know he can smash. I'm not expecting him to smash, but we know he can in a short amount of time and the least amount of minutes. So I'm going to have a little bit of exposure to Kevin Love today, but mainly trying to get to some Mobley and Allen down low and a little bit of Garland.
FanDuel specific, we're looking at Pirtle at 28%, Mobley at 22%, Allen at 22%, Murray at 15-16. DK, we got 18% for Pirtle and 16% Garland, 15% Mobley. If Okoro plays, he's at 15%. He's 3.5K, and he's like a way to get cheap.
Let's talk about Sacramento and Houston.
We're getting it, Grant. We're getting there.
I can't wait. The excitement is killing me.
I mean, nobody's ever been this excited to talk about the Sacramento Kings and the Houston Rockets in the year 2022. It's so awful, but I hate these organizations. But yes, for our purposes, they should be a lot of fun tonight. 240, which is one of the biggest totals we've seen all season long. Sacramento just a 5-point favorite here, Grant. As far as who's in and who's out, Houston is fully healthy. And Sacramento, we may or may not get Rashawn Holmes back tonight. If we do, it's probably in a limited minutes form. Bagley's good to go with his hand. LeBron hit it pretty good. Damian Jones, big boy, still out. Tristan Thompson likely out as well. So they are kind of thinking as far as their bigs, especially if Holmes.
Tristan Thompson is out.
Yeah, I said that. No,
you said likely out.
Oh, okay.
He's confirmed out.
All right. Well, Grant, go talk how much you love this game.
Christian Wood is one of the best players on the slate. Jalen Green is one of the better tournament plays. I don't think many people are going to go with him. He's far too cheap at 4.8 considering this matchup. I think he has pretty massive upside. My favorite players over on Sacramento are as follows: Fox, Halliburton, Barnes, then Hyde. Not going to argue with any of them. I plan on having 4 players from this game in every lineup.
What if Holmes does not play? Does that all of a sudden open up like Chimezie Metu or Alex Len? Do you want to mess with that nonsense?
I don't hate it. I haven't gone into that scenario yet. I may tinker around later since all my guys are playing in the late game.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, like they will probably be in play if if I got distracted by Discord.
I did too.
What's going on Discord?
Oh my goodness.
Now you have me jumping over there, but I don't know what's going on in Discord. They're having a good time over there.
I
This
think
is what
they're
happens when
polishing
it's
wood.
not. This is what happens when you make it non-premium, or that is a premium gift. Some would say. Andre, what are you doing with Sacramento? And like, help me out. What if Holmes does not play? Do I have to mess with or think about Metu or Alex Len or Cueta? Like, as far as these bigs, like, I don't want to mess with that. But is that something that might be something I have to deal with?
The start lineup is going to be very important in my opinion. If Metu starts, then I like Marvin Bagley a lot and Metu. If Alex Len starts, I don't like Bagley at all because my relation to that is pretty much I think Bagley will get more minutes if Metu starts compared to Alex Len starting. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing and hoping goes the way I think about it, especially from the last game. But I like this side a lot. Tyrese is probably gonna be one of my highest, if not my highest owned player. Actually, he's not gonna be. Christian Wood's gonna be my highest owned player, but I like getting to Tyrese a lot. I like getting to Fox a lot. I like my guy Harrison Barnes a lot. Buddy Hield in tournaments is going to be very, very sneaky, I think, in my opinion. He's not getting enough ownership. To me, he has the upside to destroy any slate, so I love playing him as well. Bagley, if I'm going to mess with it later if I have to throw some Bagley in there or Holmes or whatever, depending on what happens. On the Houston side, he mentioned the guys. I'll even like get into Tate over here too at his price. He's only 5.6K on FanDuel. That's still too cheap for this matchup at 240 total. So I like Tate, I like Porter, I like Green, I like Wood a lot. And this one guy that is sneaky that I don't think anyone's gonna be playing, but I will play him because we don't have him updated with the minutes. Is Alfred Sengun. I will be playing that guy today. Mark my word. No one has to play him, but I think he's going to have a monster game here today. And a 240 total. He's going to be playing about 24 minutes. And if he's going to be playing his normal run, which is 24 minutes, he can have a smash game, especially if Holmes is out today. So I like Alfred Sengun a lot. That's my sneaky tournament play.
Will they play Sengun alongside Wood? I know they haven't done that a ton this year. Is that something they'll do?
I don't know if they will do it, but if they do, that's even better.
Yeah, if they don't, like Sengun's only getting like 15 minutes is the problem. That's sort of my thought process there. Yeah. And by the way, this is not sneaky for the record. Like, 45% ownership for Wood on FanDuel. Barnes at 36%, Porter 28%, Halliburton 24%, Fox 19%, DK the same deal, 35% for Barnes, less extent. Wood at 32%, Halliburton 32%, Porter 21%, even Eric Gordon at 21%, Jalen Green, he can fire at 18% as well, and Fox just 18%. Fox 18%, I like that a good bit if that holds up. All right, we love that game. We made that very, very clear. Last game of the night, the dual prong hammer, Dallas versus Memphis. Grant wants to talk about this one as well, apparently. We're going to knock it out. We'll get your questions from chat as well. Plenty of time to do it. 9 minutes to go, give or take, and we have whatever, if you guys are premium members, you can ask Andy Means and Kevin Roth and the crew on Crunch Time. They take you guys straight up to LockonRotogrinders.com. 217.5 is the total as far as Dallas versus Memphis. Memphis is a 2-point favorite here, Grant. I imagine you're not nearly as enthused as far as this game as opposed to the last game. Porzingis still out. WCS still out. Steven Adams looks like he's going to play. He's off the injury report. He was out with illness before. Dylan Brooks, of course, still out, which does raise the upside of guys like John Morant and Desmond Bane. Go ahead, Grant. Go ahead and slobber about how great Desmond Bane is.
And John Morant. I mean, you can play both of them. Jaw's going to be just driving to the rim over and over again. Either he's going to make a bunch of buckets or he's going to kick it out to Desmond Bane out on the wing, and he's going to make a whole bunch of threes. But I love both of them. I think you should have one of Morant or Bane in every single lineup you play today. Bane is too cheap at 6.8K. I do not like our projection for him 31. He's gotten over 40 at what? At like a 60, 70% clip over the last 9 games. Like, he's been doing it consistently. He's had a few rough shooting outings lately, and that's not really the type of person he is. Over the last 2 games, 2 for 8 and 3 for 8 from beyond the arc, and he's a 43% three-point shooter. He gets to all the peripheral stats. He gets steals, he gets occasional blocks, he gets some assists, he gets some boards. Like, he's a fantastic play with legit 30-point upside. I hammered his over on points. I hammered his over on threes. I hammered his alt overs. I think that he crushes here, as I do most nights, but mostly just his price tag of 6.8K over on DK is just far too cheap, and no one's going to play him.
Andre?
I only have interest in Luka and Brunson from this game. No one else.
You don't like Bane? I disown you.
I don't like Bane today. Unfortunately, he's a little bit too rich for my blood when I want to play with today, and go to the other spots. And plus, it could get out of hand.
I went back and ran the old court IQ, and I put Christian Wood and Şengün in the court at the same time. They have played 196 minutes together this season. I think part of that was when they were just thin on guys. Now they're fully healthy, so I don't know if that is, or maybe they just want to see how they play together. I can't say which is which. I'm curious if they've done that recently with other guys in. But okay, so that makes you feel better about Şengün when you're talking about him. And I was like, so there was a time when they didn't play together, but that's changed. All right, the Dallas side, Andre, like, you can play Luka. He's kind of lost in the slate, but you can certainly play him.
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, that's all I like is Luka and Brunson today, especially with the price points that they have. Lucas is always a sneaky tournament play, has upside. And now maybe I might just put some Ja in there, but I'm trying to maximize winning tonight and getting all my lineups together. But Ja has the upside to destroy a slate. But Luka is fine today. Not top priority, but he's good.
Grant, your thought as far as the Mavericks? I don't know if you talk about the Mavericks as far as you.
Fade him.
So you're playing one guy in Memphis and nobody in Dallas. That's it for this game, basically, or yes. 2 guys. Yeah, at least one
to 2 guys.
We're on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's fine. I will happily take my 50 points from Bane, and you can have your more expensive 35 points from Brunson.
50? It's a little ambitious to say 50 points. By the way,
he's gotten multiple 40-point games. He hasn't hit 50, but he's been close many times over the last 8.
Again, this is why you're a former accountant, Grant. 50 is greater than 40.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. But Bane has the revenge narrative. He didn't get drafted by Dallas.
Yes, he there's a lot of teams he doesn't like because I guess they worked him out and they didn't take him for whatever reason. And I think Miami was one of those teams as well too. Man, how lovely would Bane look on Miami? It'd be amazing, but well.
Oh gosh, that would be incredible.
I will play him every single night.
Yeah. Who would you rather have going forward, Bane or Hero?
Hero, without a question.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, you just don't understand Bane, apparently.
He snapped call too. It wasn't even like a thought. Boom, Hero. That's it. It's my guy.
Hero could be like Devin Booker, in my opinion. And that's we get into a cold conversation another time, but Hero
can't Bane be Booker too.
He could be Booker, or Hero's been in the league for what, 4 years now?
3.
This is his 3rd year, I believe.
Yeah, this is only Bane's 2nd year, so he can still go up.
We have questions from chat. They're going to knock those out. By the way, did a refresh as far as our lineup HQ, and Robin Lopez is our best dollar for dollar play on the slate. 7X is his projection on DK, 4.4K, 32 minutes, 30 fantasy points. That's 7 points per dollar. Some questions from chat. Well, here you go. How many minutes can Rolo play if he's too busy trying to murder Bart Simpson? There you go. Credit to Slambert. Yeah. Did you get that reference, Grant?
Sideshow Bob, I got it.
Yeah. The rake scene is a classic. I don't know if you know the rake scene or not. Maybe you're too old for that. Sideshow Bob tries to kill Bart like once every 7 years or something like that. Yeah, I assume that
Who
they don't really wanna
plays
answer.
the voice of Sideshow
Kelsey
Bob?
Grammer. Come on, stop.
Correct.
Don't even try me. All right. So bang the drum in FanDuel tournaments. Can you rank the Hornets? Andre, rank your interest as far as the Hornets tonight.
LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward. See, I'm not playing PJ Washington, but
You're not playing Rozier?
if I was, it would be him ahead of Rozier, and then Rozier last.
I got Rozier as number 2.
Let's see. They're asking about Boucher. Yeah, thoughts on Boucher at 5.4K. So I just saw a note that Yuta Watanabe is probably going to be the likely guy to draw the starts there for Toronto, but I believe we saw that exact scenario last time out where Watanabe started and like he's not very good and just kind of like a nominal start, and like Boucher still runs it. Like he's still the guy.
Well, we also don't know if Barnes is playing or not.
And yeah,
Correct.
If Barnes is not playing, that matters. But I don't think it matters yet until we know what Barnes' situation.
For what it's worth, right now, we have Barnes projected in, and even though Barnes is projected in, now we have Watanabe projected for 15 minutes. We have 26 minutes projected for Boucher, which 26 minutes at 5.4K is playable. You know, it's not amazing, but that's playable. We've also seen, you know, he's jumped above those 24 minutes pretty handily as well. So I think he's playable right now and becomes obviously more playable if we get one more player ruled out. Let's see. FanDuel thoughts as far as Sengun. You just kind of touched on it there, Andre. I guess you like him for tournaments.
Yeah, he's my sneaky GPP tournament player of the day. I know he's going to be on now, but I think he is a fantastic play today.
Andre, what do you think of Cody Martin there? We kind of ranked the Hornets. He did not make the rankings, right, Cody?
No.
He's like the 7th guy out of 7 guys.
Yeah, you don't need him tonight. Not tonight.
I assume that's like we're playing on a potential blowout is sort of the question there. And then like Ish Smith would all of a sudden get introduced to the conversation. Can Orlando keep the game close? Like, I don't know, maybe. I don't, how do we answer that one, Grant? Like they can, yes. Will they? I don't know.
I mean, they do technically have they're plus 450. Can they keep it close? Well, if you don't think so, then just bet the Charlotte Hornets money line and it's a 15% ROI. But yes, they can keep close. They can win. This is how basketball works. Just because someone's a double-digit dog does not necessarily mean that they are going to 100% get blown out.
And also the way Charlotte plays, like Charlotte can beat the best teams by 20 and lose the bad teams by 15 just because they're so reliant on 3-pointers. And the other part of it is like they're 11, like you said, they're 11-point favorite. If it's an 11-point game with 3 minutes to go, like everybody's still out there. Unless it's one of those deals where it's like 20 and it kind of dwindles down and they still just kind of keep their, the backups in, that kind of thing on the comeback. But all right, we got another question or two before we can step aside and get out of here. Oh, Hammer 74 is the winner of some free premium. So shout out to Hammer. I'm sure Devin has contacted you. Give me your favorite game stack tonight, Andre.
Houston, Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant, what's your second favorite game stack?
Charlotte, Orlando.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. Yeah. Who's breaking the slate tonight, Grant?
Desmond Bain.
Jeez, I mean, seriously, just pull the string on the back of your neck.
Oh, I'm sorry if it keeps working out well and no one's catching on.
Andre, you got somebody breaking the slate besides Desmond Bain?
I don't have Desmond Bain, but I'm going to sit there and say Tyrese Halliburton and Alfred Sengun.
There it is. We do appreciate y'all watching. Do appreciate y'all supporting the show and participating in the Discord as well. Like, again, it's not very hard to win yourself one week free of RG Premium. Plenty of value in that. And just not basketball, all the sports there. We'll give another week away on Monday. Do enjoy the weekend. Do enjoy your football. Stay tuned to Premium Show. If you guys are premium, Rotogrinders.com. Check out Crunch Time with Andy and Kevin. Taking you guys straight. I never call Kevin. I call him Roth. Who says his name was Kevin? Didn't even know his name was Kevin. So I just said myself in my head. All right. Yeah. Do appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button, smash it, whatever you want to do, caress, whatever your adjective of choice may be. That was Andre. That was Grant. That was Steve and Devin producing for us. Combination of the two, I believe. That was basketball. I was Dean. Enjoy your weekend. Good luck tonight. We're out of here. Holler.
Tickets.